everybody. Welcome back to Bite Time. I'm Harry McCullough. We're going to spend a little time to recap the year. We're talking about Troop C. Ross Brennan is here. He's the Louisiana State Troop C Public Information Officer. And go about some stats and look at stats with, of course, fatalities, drunk driving, those kind of things, education, all those kind of things with a couple of segments here with Ross. So welcome aboard, Ross. Thanks so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Hope things are
already
good.
2023.
I know, isn't that nuts?
Wow.
It is, which I guess, it's a time y'all do a little autopsy the last year compared to the year before that.
Yeah.
How are we doing in general?
So our guys had a busy year. We were talking before. I mean, a lot more people on the road. You just realize that just driving around, whether it's, still people recovering from the storm, workers down here, contractors, maybe people going back to work, businesses coming back. So our guys were busy. We definitely had a lot more crashes. So last year in 2021, we had just a little bit over 2,000 crashes that we investigated. This year we were at 3,284, which that's almost 1,000.
That's a big jump.
That's a big jump.
Now, obviously you can't harvest all the data and reasons why. Obviously we're coming out of COVID and a storm, and it makes a little difference, I would imagine, right? Don't you think so?
Yeah, some of this stuff is it's a little, I guess, to figure out the true reasoning behind it, because it goes a little bit more than than the actual crash that we investigate. But yeah, maybe a bunch of different factors that led up to it. But so our guys were definitely busy as far as injury crashes. Terrebonne, just because one is more popular in the area, it was one of the highest, followed by Lafourche Parish, and then Assumption, and of course St. John and St. James, who work the west banks of those parishes. Property crashes, same thing, Terrebonne, with about 1,200, almost 1,300 property crashes that they investigate in Terrebonne Parish. That's just, the main economic area.
Driving in a building? What does that mean?
So that's typically a crash, two vehicles collide, something else, that there's no injuries involved or a fatality involved. That's just your regular run. Yeah, that's what we call a property crash. So, of course, like I said, Terrebonne Parish is one of our largest populated areas, so that kind of leads followed by Lafourche Parish, which is second. As far as fatal crashes go, we did a little bit better than last year. So we did have more crashes, but we had less fatalities. So we ended up with 48 fatal crashes with 53 fatals, deaths in those crashes. Last year in 2021, which was one of our highest years that we've had since 2007, we had 45 fatal crashes and 59 fatalities.
Do you see a common denominator? And we were talking about sometimes now pedestrians and motorcycles also go into those stats. So if it's a pedestrian that's hit, that's somebody walking around here that might not have a home, no reason why they would be walking on the side of the highway. But if they get hit, that's considered a fatal crash as well.
Any type of crash involving motor vehicle, pedestrian, whatever, that's if it's on the state highway or even the parish road, if it's fatal in some parishes, we investigate. But like you were saying, a majority of our fatal crashes this year were either pedestrians or motorcyclists. And when people hear motorcyclists, they think of maybe a car doing something wrong and hitting the motorcyclist, but it was the motorcyclist that was driving aggressively, speeding, passing too many cars at one time, driving recklessly. So we did see an increase in that. And as far as pedestrians walking in the middle of the road, and there might have been some other factors too, whether that person might have been intoxicated or impaired. We're still waiting on toxicology results to come back from some of these crashes that we worked. But just basically walking in the road, not walking on the shoulder like they're supposed to, or walking in the direction of traffic, wearing dark colored clothes at night, different things like that.
Yeah, and look, I mean that's a double-edged sword. Obviously, we could do better. We could have better access for pedestrians on the side of those roads, which is hard to do. But you shouldn't definitely be walking on the road. That's not a good thing. I did see at the beginning that education-wise, Troop C was second only to Troop B as far as people reach from educational opportunities.
So we partnered with Terrebonne General, not only with the sudden impact program, but we also now have a child seat fitting station there. We do it on the first, third Wednesdays, as well as the day that they have the market at the marina. So that allowed us to reach more people in that regard too. We also partnered with Lady of the Sea Hospital for that sudden impact program. But yeah, so we've reached about 11,000, almost 12,000 people just this year in educational, whether it, like I said, sudden impact or mock crashes or informational booths at events or go and visit schools. And New Orleans area, that is a big metro area. They actually have 2 troopers that go out and do education. Over here is typically just me. But yeah, so just behind New Orleans area. So we definitely try to reach a whole lot more people this year, provide information, safety, whether it's car seat driving, impaired driving, things like that.
Yeah, you said 110 child seats installed, and that's a program y'all going to continue. Huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're going to continue that. So last year in our area, we installed 70 child seats at Troop C. This year, we ended up doing 110 child seats. So that's a whole lot more kids on the road that are riding safe, that the parents know or the caretakers know that those kids are properly in their seats. And they also know now how to install that seat. So maybe they switch vehicles to get a new one, go in the grandma's car. They know how to properly put that seat inside their vehicle with their kid.
Real interesting, and to take a look at all these stats, the way that they handled out, and we got about 30 seconds left, but we'll go down and see. The enforcement might have gone up this year too, right? Because, like I say, you guys aren't doing a hurricane anymore, so
Yeah.
maybe you're on the road a little more doing those kind of things. Huh?
So whenever we have a hurricane, our goals are more or less looting patrol, making sure doing traffic safety as far as if intersections, things like that are out, especially after the hurricane with the power companies trying to work traffic in that regard. So our focus kind of shifted since all that stuff is kind of done and over with. We could go back towards enforcement. Plus, we also have additional troopers on the road. We had about 2 academy classes that graduated. So I have around 10 troopers that we now have at Troop C. So that's 10 extra guys that are able to go out there and help do patrol, but also crashes, things like that.
What are we looking for? You guys don't want to just sit there and pull people over. You guys want people to be safe. So what's some of the things we can do to be safe as we go into the new year?
So as this new year comes, even before you leave your driveway, just do some precautionary car maintenance checks. First, check your tires. We see a lot of crashes where people, even though they might be going a slower speed limit in the rain, but because their tires are bald, they end up hydroplaning. So if you are, getting to that point where if you use a penny, flip it upside down, and you see more, basically top of Lincoln's head. At that point, you'd be like, okay, I need to get some new tires. That's a simple precaution there. Make sure your car's fluids are topped off. That way, you don't end up having a breakdown. Wipers are good. Tail lights, headlights are good. Blinkers, all that things are good. Inspection sticker too. Mine's coming up soon with the new year. But yeah, just check simple stuff like that. Also, make sure your license is good. Last year, we actually cited 436 drivers for driving with a suspended license. So you might have, and maybe you don't even know that you have a suspended license. It might be an unpaid fee at the DMV, or some cases it might be child support, or whatever that situation might be. You might not know about it. So whether it's call the DMV, say, or go visit them, be like, hey, I want to see if my license is good or not. Try to get that taken care of, because if you drive with a suspended license, you can't drive that car. And so you might be in a situation where you can't get a hold of nobody to come drive for you. Now your car's getting towed and everything else that goes along with it.
A lot more expensive.
Exactly.
So let's dig into some of the stats. We didn't do good on DUIs. So we went from 450 to 520.
Yeah.
That's not a good trend.
That's not a good trend. But like you said earlier, too, with
Enforcement
maybe picked up now that the storm recovery is taking off, and plus we got new troopers on the road. But also, additionally, businesses are coming back since the storm, whether it's restaurant, bars, things such as that. People now maybe have more money on the side. They did their hurricane repairs. Now they're able to go out and do more extracurricular activities. So it could be a culmination of all those things. But yeah, no, we did bump up a little bit as far as DWI arrests. But I think it goes to show that troopers are trying to be proactive at night, especially what we did for the holidays. We did the Zero for the Holidays, that initiative. It didn't work out this year. We ended up suffering a good bit of fatals, basically in the month of December. But we were more aggressive trying to find those impaired drivers.
Also interesting, I'm looking at speeding. 2,296 speeding. But a lot of people think, man, the troopers are just out there, speed trap. You had 3,284 crashes, right?
Yeah.
So you had more crashes than you had speeding. So you guys aren't just, it's not traps. You're doing it for a reason and trying to slow people down. But there's a reason you're doing it when you have 3,000 crashes.
So in December, 2 of our fatal crashes that we investigated had some type of speeding involved, a high rate of speed. Like you said, it's not out there to go and pick on people and harass people. We know what can happen when the vehicle speeds. So if you're going faster than what that road is designed for, let's say a hazard comes out in front of you. It might not be you do something wrong. Maybe another driver pulls out, or a piece of cargo falls out of the truck, whatever it might be. It's going to take you longer to come to a stop because you're going faster. You are going to have less reaction time. If you do impact that object, there's going to be more crash forces, which then in turn can turn to more injuries.
Situations.
Yeah, more injuries inside the vehicle, potentially death, because those car safety features just aren't designed for that speed. So I know that we're out there writing speeding tickets. It's not about ruining people's days. That we know what can happen in a vehicle crash with speed.
Yeah, and then you're on the side of the road, and that's more of a dangerous situation. And all. Too, I swear, if I'd have had to make a guess, I'd have thought each trooper gave 10 times tickets than covered crashes. And you can see it's not even the same number. It's more crashes than speeding. Yeah. So as we go down the list, speeding, seatbelt, and careless op were different things. So speeding, the seatbelt was 1,200. Careless op was right over 1,000. Yeah. But then you talked about the license and suspended license, improper lane usage, that kind of stuff. I saw a lot of license plates from Texas, Florida, after the storm. When you got people that aren't used to these highways, does that make a difference, you think?
It could be that too. Talking about license and stuff, well, we also saw a big increase of people with fake license plates. So those temporary plates coming from Texas, there's actually an operation people are doing where they're making fake ones like that. So that means that the car is driving around unregistered with no insurance. It can lead to more stuff.
Is that illegal alien? And I don't mean, but could it be people coming?
It could be that. Maybe they don't have the required documents in order to get that type of stuff taken care of, or maybe they just don't have the money to afford it.
Which again, I'm not complaining. Thank God we got our roof done.
Yeah, but like you said, more people on the road driving, maybe not from the area, contractors. That could be a factor too. But I mean, if they've been here since the storm, you drive on the same road, you should know. I mean, And then, roads are the same everywhere else. We got speed limits here to follow. Don't drive distracted. Don't drive impaired. You'll be able to see that curve coming up, and you'll be able to control yourself going around it if you're paying attention.
Yeah, seasonally, like saying, this time it's foggy, cold, it's rainy, it's different. And then we throw in sugarcane trucks and, burning in the fields a little bit. It can get real tough at night to see a lot of things, too. So I imagine when you're in a two-lane highway, that can be hard.
Yeah. And so with the sugarcane trucks, a lot of people get impatient. They start trying to pass in situations where they can't pass. That sugarcane vehicle has as much right to be on the road. That tractor, it can be on the road with Louisiana law.
Yeah,
it's part of our economy down here. It's beneficial to our area. But don't get in a hurry. Don't drive recklessly just because you're really not going to save that much time, maybe a minute at the most. But yeah, just drive defensively. If it's foggy, slow that speeds down, even in the rain. Just make better choices behind the wheel.
All right. Well, Ross, thank you, man. Thanks for all the time you do with the education and those things. We'll be listening one of these days.
Yes,
we
sir.
appreciate it. All right. We'll be right back. More Bite Time after this.